How gambling predicts the next recession.
When you were a kid, how much did you spend on Pokemon boosters? Or hope that you'll get your favorite toy that you wanted from your Happy Meal?
Oh my god. That Happy Meal, that exact toy, I definitely had it.
Well, congratulations. You were gambling. Stick with me here, but as adults, we've gotten to a point where you're gambling every single day. It's all without you even knowing it. In fact, companies are spending billions to further turn consumption into the world's most hidden casino. And they've already successfully expanded their targets. 1 in 2 American men aged 18 to 49 already have a gambling account, but now it's increasingly reaching women with creepy toys, blind boxes, and retail therapy. So how
I never thought about that. Like, why is buying a blind box that you don't know what's inside of satisfying? What makes that addictive? I'd rather know what I'm buying, so when I buy it, I don't get disappointed.
exactly did we get from childhood toys to now everything we buy feeling like a gamble? Well, after weeks of research, I found that this goes way beyond this secret form of the gambling epidemic, to a point where the US is increasingly becoming an economy that runs on it. Because when life gets unaffordable, addiction usually becomes the only escape. But if something isn't done about this soon, it's slowly becoming an addiction without a cure.
How much did you spend on La Boo Boos last month?
Probably like 700.
You're choosing $700 on La Boo Boos over your marriage.
Why? What? There's no utility in that. Like, I am very money conscious. Like, every dollar I make, I'm like, all right, don't spend it on stupid shit. I do have a budget for stupid shit. It's like stack of ones, all singles. So if I have to buy something that's $90, I'm not gonna sit there and count 90 singles. So that prevents me from buying too much stupid shit.
Blind boxes for many of the consumers is an experience. And so you've been investing that anticipation and you want that big payoff. So in that sense, it resembles very strongly gambling.
Bro, especially Temu. You hop on Temu, boom, roulette wheel. You click OK, and then the next day, boom, what's that called? Monty Hall with like, it's like choose the one with the best deal under it, the treasure chest.
So to understand how gambling has infiltrated almost every aspect of American life, we need to go back in history. Because what you're about to see is that this only became possible under the right economic conditions. And to get there, an entire generation, including many of you watching, were the very guinea pigs that made everything that we see today happen. So with that, let's start in the 1950s. Because back then, buying American products wasn't just shopping. It was like a patriotic duty. So much so that American leaders were literally branding mass consumption as freedom, unlike the Soviet Union's state-controlled communistic economy. And it worked. By the 1960s, middle-class Americans enjoyed a living standard never before seen in history, and
Consumption equals freedom. Interesting.
consumption became a way to prove capitalism's superiority. But then zooming forward, the cracks started showing. The 1970s brought foreign competition. In the 1980s, we saw auto workers smashing Toyotas with sledgehammers, furious that Japanese imports were taking American jobs. And by the 90s, when the Cold War ended, so did the us versus them narrative that slowly started fading away. And as globalization and outsourcing took over, the Buy American campaigns also started fading in the mainstream. But look, here's where it gets interesting. Because as patriotic consumption died, something else was being born. Companies like Walmart began branding themselves as price-conscious retailers as they started noticing that consumers were increasingly becoming price and novelty driven.
Wait, what? So back then, to be patriotic, you spend double the price on napkins in America rather than buying a cheap Toyota. Huh? Interesting.
Always find low prices. That's our promise and our commitment to you.
But the problem was competing
That makes no sense. You must have a huge sense of patriotism to buy stuff double the price. Like, let's say buy a Ford, use double the gas, double the price, than the cheap Toyota. Wow, that's
on low prices usually
unheard of.
makes it a lot harder to build loyalty. And so companies needed a new way to create addiction. And you and I became the perfect guinea pigs. While this economic shift was happening, companies began quietly
Addiction.
experimenting on kids by turning shopping into more of a game of chance. So remember Happy Meal toys, Pokemon card packs, claw machines at the arcade?
Oh yeah, the claw machines got me when I was little. Until I found out they were rigged. I was like, yeah, okay.
To collect them
Like, bro, there was one at a bar. I don't know why I was at a bar. I think my grandparent, no, it was my parents. They were delivering. They brought me along. Went into a bar. It was like a bowling alley with a bar. Claw machine goes down like a limp fish, like a whatever that is. It didn't even grab it. I was like, what the hell? What is that? So I just never played that again.
all appeal drove repeated purchases
I don't even get Pokemon cards either. I was in Kumon, racking up them points, doing all my work, getting the dollars, getting the Kumon dollars. I didn't know what Pokemon was, so I bought one. I open it, it's just cards. I'm like, how do I play with these cards? What do I do with these cards? I just threw it up. Imagine one of them was like worth $10,000. That'd be crazy. But yeah, I don't get it. It's like, oh, I hope I get Pikachu. Oh, I didn't get Pikachu. Oh, I hope I get Pikachu. It makes no sense.
in pursuit of rare items, but more importantly, in pursuit of unpredictable rewards. And this is key here because what
Why do people like unpredictable? I think he's about to tell it. I just jumped the gun.
unpredictability taps into is a powerful conditioning that psychologists call the intermittent reinforcement. In short, it triggers a bunch of dopamine into your brain. As you can imagine, it's the same mechanism that makes gambling so addictive.
What the fuck? Candy Crush? What was that? Candy
same
Crush
mechanism
roulette?
that
No,
makes
Candy
gambling
Crush slots? That's
So
hilarious.
addictive.
How do you win? What's on here that he won? 10x? How's that 10? Alright, anyways.
A 2023 study found
I don't know. I feel like I like stability more. I like watching it grow. I don't like losing, and then huge spike and then losing. Because at the end of the day, most of it's like you're up here. You're losing. You win big, but not enough to cover how much you won or how much you lost that you spent gambling. So I like steady returns. I like steady. Like really, I want higher returns, but steady is the name of the game. I might take a little bit and just throw it into high risk plays, but even that, I don't really like the big risk plays. Like my friend was telling me, he was like, "Oh, just throw $200 into leveraged options." It's an option on leveraged stocks already. What, 3x? It was TQQQ, and he said, just buy an option on it every month. And he's like, every month you lose $200, but if that turns good, you're gonna get $8,000. I'm like, I don't know. I don't like it. Like it. He's like, yeah, every year it's only 2,400. I'm like, yeah, but it's also 2,400 out my pocket, because options is really unpredictable. At the end of the day, when it reaches the strike price, it's done. You just lost all your money. But if it does, then you make all your money. But it's the time decay. As it goes closer to the expiration date, you're gonna slowly lose value day by day until it's the day of and it just expires. Worthless. $0. You can't even get $1 for it. So I'm like, yeah, I'd rather have the 2,400 in my portfolio, 10% a year, compounded, rather than gamble it. But when you get a big enough portfolio, like I did dabble in it a little bit, I would take some. Like I like dividend income, right? You take the dividend income, whatever you get. Let's say you get like what, 800 a month. Take that, take like 100 of it, and gamble with it. If it goes good, it's like the high risk, you put it back in the low risk. The low risk, you put it back in the high risk. But more in the low risk, because that's your cash flow.
found that over
If your low risk stops, then you don't have any more money to put in the high risk. And the high risk, it's a small amount, but you make huge return. Put it back in the low risk. Don't put all that back in the high risk. You're gonna lose all of it.
Where 90% of young adults recalled
Damn,
playing
I just
claw
yapped.
machines as children, and those who did so
Whoa! Participants recollected using crane grab machines were 2.36 times more likely to be an adult gambler. That's crazy. Wow.
more frequently were significantly more likely to gamble as adults.
Wow, look at that. Good thing I quit early.
And the same playbook is being repeated with today's kids, but at scale. For us, it might have been claw machines, but today's kids are on Roblox, which is free to play, but it hooks kids through in-game purchases and random rewards. So I'll get into all of this, but as consumption evolved, companies started figuring out that the best way to create lifelong customers is to condition us early on as kids to crave surprises and random rewards. And as I'll reveal by the end of the video, the uncertainty surrounding today's economy almost guarantees that this is about to get a whole lot worse. And as you know with gambling, the house always wins. But when it comes to creating online, you don't want to leave that up to chance. That's why I use my sponsor tools for soon, even some they're up on tier creators. It with the much now trend gambling already has a grip over men through sports betting and poker, but women have historically avoided these spaces. So their master plan was this. Instead of calling it gambling as we know it, the goal was to make it cute, social, and about treating yourself.
Wow. If you think about it that way, they really got him. They really got him. Cute, social, and like not anything gambling. Because men were like, let's gamble. Like you could see so many memes on gambling, but women, they tend to steer clear of that.
And I have to give it to them because it's absolutely
It is a form of gambling. If you think about it, a gamble is taking a chance on something you don't know, uncertainty.
genius, and it's working like crazy. And a perfect example of this are blind boxes. Walk into any trendy toy store today and you'll see this. Collectible toys packaged like mystery prizes where you don't know what's inside until you open it. And the poster child for this trend?
Bro, you know what's my blind box back in the day? It was McDonald's meals. And at a certain point, I just didn't, like every time I go to McDonald's, I'll get a Happy Meal. And if I don't get the toy I wanted, I'm like, damn, maybe next time. But sooner or later, I just ask them for it. I'm like, can I just get the tiger? Can I just get the panda? It was the Kung Fu Panda one.
This little guy here. If you're 90% of my audience, you probably have absolutely no idea what this is, but this is a Labubu. And these goblin-faced, to be honest, I don't know what it is made from a Chinese toy maker called Pop Mart, and it's achieving cult status.
I wanted Labubu's.
What is a boo-boo?
A Labubu.
A love boo-boo?
Labubu.
Celebrities from Rihanna to K-pop bands have all been spotted carrying Labubus. Limited edition drops sell out within hours, and people wait hours in line just to buy one of these things.
I really don't understand these. Like, what are these? What is it for? Decoration? Doesn't serve any purpose. And there's some selling for like thousands of dollars. Can you believe that? This probably cost them like $1 to make. $1 to make, pack, color, ship it. Marketing probably cost the most, but at this point, it's not even marketing. It just catches on like wildfire.
The universe is about to give you a gift. I'm dead wrong.
In fact, demand is so high that there's an entire resale market.
That's
Rare
crazy.
Labubus fetch 3 times more than their original price. $80 or more for a fucking figurine that retails around $30 to $45. But the reason why it's gotten this way is because these blind boxes exploit the very same psychological triggers as slot machines, but it's cute. They play on curiosity and anticipation, collection and completion impulses, and FOMO from the limited availability that they release. And all this taps into the variable ratio reward system.
Well, all this makes sense, but like if it was slots, right? It's money that you're winning. It's money that you're losing. It's money that you're winning. For Labubus, it's money that you're losing. And what are you gaining? Literally, what are you gaining? A better looking figurine?
Where every purchase is the chance of hitting the jackpot, or in practice, pulling a secret rare Labubu that completes your collection. And the fact that it's in a blind box where you don't know which toy you're gonna get when you buy one, it's the very point. It's the gambling thrill that gets you hooked like one of the 75% of Pop Mart's customers that are
Female?
young
That's
women.
crazy.
So if you really think about it, blind boxes are essentially just slot machines on steroids, but for women, and they're making billions of dollars on this behind the fact that it's so cute. Sorry. But anyways, blind boxes are just the beginning of what I call softcore gambling. And it's not just infiltrating young women. There's even examples like social casinos that literally simulate slot machines, poker, and other casino games, except no real money is won. And you start playing with virtual coins in which you can buy more coins using real cash.
That's
and
crazy.
These social casino apps like Slot Mania are made up of 72% women, mainly aged around 35 to 55. But the most concerning soft gambling example is in gamified shopping that is designed to make spending money feel less like
Temu.
shopping and more like gaming. You probably heard of Shein and Temu by now, but what you may not know is that their user base is 63 to 66% women versus Amazon, which primarily skews male. And if you've ever been on it, you can probably guess why this is the case. As soon as you go on, you get blasted with slot machines and spin the wheel pop-up.
Look at that. Roulette right there.
For mystery.
Hey, but hold on. I only buy from Temu if it's a good deal, right? I only buy... What is that? Alright, it's either fireworks or gunshots. I don't know what that is. But anyways, I buy things that I actually need. Damn, what am I saying? That I actually need from Temu. For example, packing tape. I need so much packing tape. So what do? I just keep buying packing tape. And then they give me credits back. If you search credit back, I think it was, yeah, credit back. They literally give you like 80 to 90% of your credit back of your order value. The only downside is you gotta buy it or you gotta redeem it like every day. And if you miss it, it's just gone. And they put all the small values like $1, $2, $2, $3, $5, and then the last day is like 17. So they're hoping like you claim maybe $2, $3, $4, and then the $17, it's so far out that you just forget. But no, I'm on that shit. Because why? I only bought it once, and they gave me credit back. Then I ran out of tape. I had to buy more tape. I waited for the deal to come back. When the deal was back, I bought it again with the credit I already got. If that makes sense. So, the second time, it was zero out-of-pocket cost. The first time, it was out-of-pocket cost, but then they gave me the credit back. How do they make money? I even did the math on them. I was going to import and sell tape. I was going to buy it from China in a container and start selling it online. They're selling it for $36 for 36 rolls. The shipping itself from Cali to the East Coast is $36. How does that work? FedEx, exact label. How's that work? Unless they're charging like $7. How much are you getting it for? The whole box for cents? There's no way. That like drew me into a spiral because I messaged like 50 plus suppliers. I'm like, how much is tape? How much is tape? How much is tape? Oh, that's too expensive. Oh, that's too expensive. Oh, that's too expensive. How much for a shipping container? How much for a shipping container? Like, same one for everyone, right? So apparently, like, couple pallets, still not the price I wanted. And I was like, shipping container, still not the price I wanted. And I was like, how is Temu selling it? They have to be selling at a loss.
Coupons and flash sales and timers tell
I don't like the coupons. Because the coupons mean you got to spend way more to get the same thing. So I just get the credit back. Credit back is literally like cash. And what? It's like 60%. And if you got to try like declining it. Make sure you could go back, right? But try to exit out. One time, right after the deal, they're like, oh, this guy's stupid. Talking about me. He's like, oh, this guy spends money when we give him credit back. Let's do it again. Let's give him 65%. I was like, 65? Nah. I X'd out of it, like exit out of it. And they were like, all right, plus 15%, 80% cash back. They try to get you first, right? And if you don't accept it, then they try again, but with a better deal. 80%, I was like, oh shit, that's pretty good. So I took the 80% on.
telling you that you have to buy
But don't buy these useless stuff. Like, look at this headlamp, watch. A lot of the quality, it's so ass. But for packing tape, it just gotta hold stuff. It just gotta hold the box together. Packing tape's pretty good.
now. And by creating these artificial urgencies, these apps nudge users to buy now, think later, where the deal itself becomes a jackpot if you're able to snag it in time. And through all these examples, what the question now becomes is what explains this massive gender divide between softcore and hardcore gambling? Simply put, it's psychology. Research shows that the further you move away from money on the table towards surprise for its own sake, the more female the audience becomes. In simple terms, women respond more to low-risk, steady rewards focused on collection, completion, and community rather than pure competition. Think about it this way. A girl buying a Labubu finds happiness in finally getting the pink bunny or whatever the hell it is that completes their zodiac set. Whereas men are more likely to gamble for the competitive and financial reasons, like Logan Paul making an entire video flexing how he finally got this ultra rare Pokemon card that costs millions. So
How is that a flex? A Pokemon card that costs millions. I don't know how that's a flex.
just to drive the point home, men prefer more of these high-stakes environments, like the fact that 96% of the players in the 2025 World Series of Poker were men versus only 4% women. And as you can imagine with these gender differences, so is the differences in the business model of these companies. Traditional hardcore gambling relies on a small percentage of whales or high rollers that spend huge amounts of money.
The most you lost in a night?
Around 300,000.
You know
The
what's
socket-
crazy? You know what's so crazy? Every time I go to a casino, there's always old people at the slots. $300 spins. Boom, boom, boom. There goes a grand. That's 900. There goes a grand. They don't care. It's their retirement. Like, can't you find any other hobby to do instead of gambling? That's so crazy. They just sit at the slots. The worst odds ever. Like, you're guaranteed to lose. Unless somehow you got in at the right time and you won big. And then even if you win big, sometimes the casinos be like, oh, there was a glitch. You weren't supposed to win.
Gambling is the direct opposite. Instead of needing each user to spend a lot, they need millions of users to spend a little. And so the goal becomes fundamentally different, where it's more about making every customer a consistent spender by keeping them within the ecosystem. And they're doing that successfully. Nearly half of Pop Mart's purchases are from returning customers, and there's a whole ass community. Fans attend Pop Mart.
I really don't know what is the hype of Labubus. Like, if I buy one, put it on my bag. What does it do?
Art conventions, share collections on social media, and anticipate new releases just like a sneakerhead would wait for the new Jordans. And it's how just in a couple of years, they've skyrocketed to a multi-billion-dollar valuation by selling what are essentially cheap 5-cent toys for $45. By turning retail into a reoccurring service with built-in reasons to come back, they've turned millions of women into consistent gamblers without them realizing it. And the genius play behind it is that they're creating an illusion of winning for
I really don't know what's to gain. What are you winning? What are you winning?
the customer, making spending feel like playing, and it's all built on a system where the house is guaranteed to win. But like I've been saying, none of this can happen without the right economic conditions. Because what most people aren't talking about is that this gambling epidemic isn't random. It's a direct response to economic desperation.
Small
When
bets.
people
predict-
can't afford the big things in life, they start making small bets on happiness instead. And this pattern of behavior is actually an economic indicator that predicts when everything is about to collapse. In fact, there's even a theory for all of this. In the aftermath of 2001, the chairman of Estee Lauder, the beauty empire that owns brands like Le Labo and Clinique, noticed something strange. Lipstick sales were surging despite a slumping economy. And he noticed it again after the 2008 financial crash. Lipstick sales spiked. And during the
Lipstick.
inflation of 2022, the same thing happened. He called it the lipstick index. that when times get tough, people swap big purchases for small luxuries. And it wasn't just lipstick,
Why lipstick? Why not lip gloss and the other one?
but fancy chocolates, $10 lattes, and artisanal candles. All these sales surged when a house, car, or vacation became unaffordable. It kind of makes sense when you think about it. These little treats that make you feel better become a guilt-free bet on happiness. And if we're gonna get all technical, it serves as this economic escapism to cope with the fact that the bigger goals in life has become impossible. And that's exactly what we're seeing now, but on steroids, with blind boxes, social casinos, and gamified shopping. But it's not just women. Men too are doing this, but just a little differently. Right now, Google searches for how to day trade are at all-time highs.
Wow.
And just how unemployment numbers serve as recession predictors, so does unconventional spikes in amateur day trading.
What does that mean? I have to get out the market?
Historically, we also saw this in 2021 during the AMC short squeeze frenzy, and when paychecks started becoming uncertain, people started chasing fast money and upside to make up that difference in income. And when regular people lose hope in steady jobs and find overconfident hope in easy trading apps, recession typically followed within the next 6 to 12 months. And with online gambling becoming more legal and available, this desperation is showing up in the fact that 1 in 2 American men today have a gambling account.
At least one. Wow, that's crazy. You know, I thought about it. I was like, okay, how do I put the edge in my favor? I'm not going to play something I don't have an edge in. Like if I play... I was looking at the odds. The house always wins. They just take a cut, right? Whatever the risk is, they just take a little fee in it. So if you're bound to lose, if you don't have an upper advantage, why would I play? Doesn't make sense. Eventually, the value I have will erode away. Like humans don't have this. Most humans don't have this ability to comprehend like risk versus reward. But I try to understand it a lot. Like I was so into statistics in school. I was like, teach me how to gamble. That's what I got from statistics. But either way, it's like what did Mr. Tyson say? Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's like, oh, if this number doesn't hit on a roulette wheel, let's say it doesn't hit 10, or it doesn't hit 0 or 00 in so long, and they're like, it's due. There's a clip of it. He's like, it's due. He says that probability does not work like that. But let me put it like this. Let's say you're flipping a quarter, right? 50-50 chances. And somehow you flip 20 times, 19 times it's heads. Eventually, the number should even out because the probability is 50-50. So with a large enough scale, or what does it call it? With a large enough sample size, it should even out to 50-50. The same chances. If you do it 1,000,000 times, it should even out. So with each additional flip, it should be more probable to hit tails. That's my take on it.
So when traditional paths to prosperity like home ownership, stable careers, building wealth feels more like the lottery than a certainty, both men and women don't just stop seeking rewards. They just downsize their bets in different ways when the big wins in life seem impossible.
Well, that's a bad idea too. I tried sports betting. It was such a bad idea. I tried arbitrage. That was good because it's risk-free. But if you use a percentage for your bet size, you're going to lose either way. Because it's like saving every day. You can save every day, or like save up for the big purchase, or you could like spend a little bit every day instead of spending big. Eventually, it's gonna erode your wealth. If today you spend 5% of your wealth, and then the next day you spend 5%, and the next day 5%, it slowly decreases your wealth. Even in sports betting, I was using what is it called? Bet sizes. I was like, oh, I'll just use 10% of my portfolio. Well, yeah, but if you lose, that 10% isn't going to cover the 10% you lost before. You know what I'm saying? It's like 10% loss of 100 is 90. If you make a 10% gain, it's $9, which is was it 99? You just lost a percent, even though 10%, 10%.
And these companies are smart because they're hooking you in an endless dopamine loop where your economic anxiety continues to get monetized. But the more dangerous aspect about this is that it's not just changing how we spend money, it's starting to change reality itself. Because when everything becomes a bet, the line between prediction and manipulation starts disappearing. And that's where everything truly gets scary. And believe it or not, we just saw this threshold get crossed this year. Just over a month ago, something kept happening in the middle of WNBA games. No, it wasn't people deciding to sleep during the game. Let's just say that people were throwing certain objects on the court.
And you can see the object, the block right there. The object comes, that green thing bounces and it goes to the sideline.
And after a few of these incidents started happening, platforms like Polymarket that allow people to bet on real life events started posting a market for people to predict which day the next object will be
that's
thrown.
crazy.
So think about what that means. Like this guy says, prediction markets aren't just predicting outcomes anymore. They're encouraging people to interfere and create future outcomes. We're literally at a stage where platforms and bettors profit from disrupting future events because it drives engagement and betting volume. And so even if you don't shop on Shein or place bets on draft picks, you and I included are increasingly engaging in this overall gambling economy. One where companies profit from creating addictive spending behavior like gamblers feeding coins into a machine that's ultimately rigged against them. So the choice is yours, really. I mean, it's your money, but next time you're about to make that purchase to treat yourself, really ask yourself, am I buying something I need, or am I buying a temporary fix for my economic anxiety? Could that money be invested in something that could actually change your situation, or are you just feeding the machine?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I don't even think about that. Why would I buy a stuffed animal? I would never in the right state of mind buy a stuffed animal for $50. $50? My bread and butter back then was Coin Pusher. It was called Plinko. Oh shoot, that is gambling at its finest. But it uses tokens, not money. But the tokens use money. You need money to get the tokens. The reason I play that is every time you get Plinko, like you get all the letters, the specific machine, they had to close that machine down in the arcade. Every time I get Plinko, it spins a wheel. And it could be like 500 tickets. It could be 200 tickets. And I see all the tickets coming out. I'm like, oh. And I quickly got their iPod. What was it? iPod Touch? It was like 5,000. I just bought it. I'm like, oh. With tickets. I was like, no way. That was so easy. And then they shut the machine down. I don't know if the arcade's still there, but won so much they had to shut it down. That's how you know it's rigged.
Machine that keeps you exactly where you are. Because in an economy where everything is a bet, just like gambling, the house always wins.
How is it a gamble if you know you're gonna win? Right? Like Temu. I know I'm gonna win. Every time it shows you like 3 separate deals, the middle being the best, and they shuffle it, whatever you choose, it's going to be the best deal. On the roulette wheel, whatever you spin, it's going to be the best deal. How are you gambling if you know you're going to win? I mean, that's just to drive you to buy random shit that you don't need. But if you actually need it, if I were to buy tape, it would cost $1 each. Right? $1 roll. That's like the cheapest if I buy in bulk. But if I buy it on Temu, it's 20 cents each. After I get my credit back of 80%, dude, it's 20 cents each. So I don't lose on Temu. Sometimes I'll buy some useless shit on Temu, but that's about all. And that's all for this video. How gambling predicts the next recession. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.